The Golden State Warriors' new death lineup has left the NBA absolutely speechless. As you all know, the Golden State Warriors are currently on a 5-game win streak, and this may be due to their new death lineup that they have been running so far over the last couple of games. In today's video, we're going to be going through this secret new death lineup that is sending the NBA by storm, and how this lineup could actually help them win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it'd mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. Starting at point guard, we have none other than your MVP, Stephen Curry. Now, as we all know, Stephen Curry is 35 years old, heading into 36, and a lot of NBA fans and also just NBA analysts as well have thought that the Curry era is finally ended, but he is continuing to prove everyone wrong. Over the last 5 games, he's put on an absolute clinic, with one game against Atlanta dropping 60 points, another game against Indiana dropping 42, and another game where he just dropped 30 on the Phoenix Suns and had a pretty solid game against Jazz. But when it comes to what he is able to do, you definitely see from this footage here just how great he actually is. He's able to dissect the defense, find the openings on the 3 or even inside, and the way he dissects the defense, even being doubled or even sometimes triple teamed, is honestly insane to see. Over the last couple of games, he has put on such a clinic, not just overall scoring, but also in the 3-point department. If we look at some of the games, he went 11 from 16 against Indiana. He also went 9 from 16 against Phoenix, and also went 10 from 23 against Atlanta, all shooting above 45%. So he's absolutely tearing it out there when it comes to the 3 ball, and he's not just getting better as time goes on offense, but on defense he's definitely showing a lot of promise. When it comes to what Curry can do very well is be able to actually play really good defense, and even if he has to switch on maybe some bigger guards, he's still able to stay on his own. And I think there's something that is super important about Curry's game that has really improved over the last couple of years, due to the fact that when we saw him face off against Cavaliers where Kyrie Irving supposedly cooked him, obviously a lot of people thought that Stephen Curry had no defense back then. Now it definitely has improved quite a lot. Curry isn't a liability on defense like he was before, and you definitely see that in the way he plays defense, and also when he's coming off pick and roll screens. He can definitely hang with the best of them, and I think he does great at standing at 6'2". Even though he isn't a main defending player, I think he has definitely improved in a sense that he's able to hold his own and not be too much of a liability. When it comes to his overall season field goal and 3-point percentage, he's shooting 46% from the field, which is great, and also a 3-point percentage of 42%, which is honestly insane to see. So when it comes to Curry, all in all, he is doing very, very well. He is on track also to make the 50-40-90 club, and with him also averaging around 4.4 rebounds and 4.8 assists, he's definitely putting up such great numbers, and it will continue on throughout the rest of the season. At shooting guard, we have none other than Klay Thompson. Now, obviously, we all know, NBA fans, Warriors fans, there has been a lot of rumor around Klay Thompson, whether he's washed and whether it's time for the Warriors to move on from him. Now that the trade deadline has already passed, it does seem that Klay Thompson will be staying with this team. And it was also mentioned that Stephen Curry was actually given a say, and he said not to trade Klay Thompson as well. So it is great to see his loyalty there. But right now, he is still in this starting lineup, and although he hasn't performed the best, I do believe he's still a very good asset for that new Warriors lineup that has definitely been helping them get on this win streak. Right now this season, he's averaging 16.9 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 2.3 assists. Now he has had some questionable games over the last couple of games, but I do believe when it comes to what he is capable of doing, we definitely saw that in the most recent Jazz game. We saw him be able, as from this footage right here, be able to really get open and be able to knock down shots. His problem isn't actually getting open shots. He is able to get quite great looks at the basket, but his consistency just hasn't been there all the time. But I do believe that will change as time goes on. He's definitely putting on a show, and he did show that against the Utah Jazz, especially in this play right here where he really showed his offensive abilities. And I do believe when it comes to what he is capable of doing on defense, it may not be the same as before, but thankfully the Warriors have another great defenders around them, whether it's Wiggins, whether it's Kuminga, and all that. So because of that, we won't really expect too much of Klay Thompson guarding the best player on the other team, as there are other players for that now. But I do believe that Klay Thompson, as time goes on, will be able to gain back his confidence, and we saw that in this most recent Utah Jazz game. He was able to get great looks at the basket, but also do it at a very efficient rate, which is what we like to see, especially from Klay Thompson. I think a lot of Warriors fans aren't really expecting him to drop 25-30 points per game no more, but they need him to really shoot consistently and be able to play defense, which I think he really did show in that most recent Utah Jazz game. At small forward, we have none other than Andrew Wiggins. Now, as we all know, Andrew Wiggins has been such a huge asset for this team as of lately, especially on their most recent win streak, and it is continuing on due to the fact that he has been able to bounce back from a really lackluster start to the season. Now, so far this season, he is averaging 12.4 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 1.6 assists, but if we do look over the last 5 games, he has definitely improved quite a lot. He may not be scoring as much as there are new scorers in this team, but I do believe his defense is definitely improved, and when he does score, he's scoring at a very efficient rate. If we look at the most recent game against Utah Jazz from this footage right here, you definitely see his capabilities is still definitely there. He's able to shoot the 3-ball well. He's able to drive in, get you a bucket when needed, and I think this is something that we desperately need from Wiggins, and he is starting to show that. He also went 6 from 10 from the field and went 3 from 3 from the 3-point line, and although he did only score 17 points, the fact that he shot it at such an efficient rate is what we definitely need from someone like Andrew Wiggins. He isn't going to get the same amount of volume shots as Steph and Curry or even Klay Thompson, but when he is going up for a basket, he definitely finishes it off well, and he does it with a Midas touch. So I do believe when it comes to Wiggins, he's definitely improving, and at 6'7", 197 pounds, he's able to really guard 1 through 5 pretty easily. He does struggle against 7-footers at times, but I do believe for his size and stature, he does a very, very good job, which is what we like to see, and one of the reasons why this lineup has been working so well. His really difference that he does make for this team is his athleticism and his inside presence. As we all know, yes, Wiggins can shoot the 3, but his athleticism inside the paint from this footage, as you see, really does show and really does help this Warriors team really open up, as Curry, Klay Thompson, even other players who are other 3-point shooters get a lot more space due to the fact that Wiggins attracts so much defense when driving to the ring. And I think there's going to be a very, very big thing that is definitely going to be needed when the NBA playoffs come around. At power forward, we have the up and rising star Jonathan Kuminga. Now, Kuminga has been probably the biggest surprise to everyone, but we all also saw it coming. When it comes to Jonathan Kuminga, as we all know, earlier on this season, he was actually asked or requested to have a trade due to the fact that he wasn't happy with the minutes he was getting with the Golden State Warriors. Steve Kerr eventually actually talked to him, and now we see him in the starting lineup for what he has been able to produce over the last couple of games. Now, so far this season, his season averages is 15.6 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 1.8 assists. But as of recent, he's actually averaging, guys, 19 points, which is insane over the last 5, and is also grabbing 6.4 rebounds and also 3.7 assists. So these are over the last 5 games, and he has been implemented into the starting lineup pretty much ever since this winning streak has started for the Golden State Warriors, and you definitely see the difference with what he is capable of doing. I think Jonathan Kuminga, like you see from this footage here, is what he really does different is his ability to finish at the ring is honestly second to none. His athleticism is honestly insane, and because of that, it really does keep a lot of teams guessing, and no one can really keep up with him. Like I mentioned before, Jonathan Kuminga is 6'8", so he is that power forward. You know, you could even consider in today's NBA, where everyone loves to run small ball, a tall power forward, but he's got the speed of a guard, he's got the also athleticism of a guard, and he can pretty much jump out the gym every single time. Everyone did call him Andrew Wiggins 2.0, but it does seem now that Jonathan Kuminga is becoming his own, and he's definitely showing it time and time again. His inside presence is definitely felt, and you can definitely see that with the way he plays. Now, his 3-point shot isn't always there. He does have some games where he only shoots 1 or 2 3-points, but that doesn't really matter due to the fact that the Warriors need is more inside scoring, and that's what Jonathan Kuminga really does provide for this team. Well, he will continue to do that, and I think his defense is second to none. We all know how great he is when it comes to rebounds and assists, steals, or even blocks, but when it comes to the intangible things, being able to stay in front of their man, his ability to switch onto guards, switch onto bigs, and be able to still get a contest, those are the things that don't show up on the stat sheet that Jonathan Kuminga is really dominating in as of recent. And I think if they do continue to keep Jonathan Kuminga to improve, we can not only just definitely see him make a huge impact during this season, but also one day eventually become an all-star very soon. So he is on the right path and is still at 21 years old. He's definitely looking in the right hands and can definitely become something special in the future. And at center, we have none other than Draymond Green. Now, as we all know, Draymond Green was suspended for a good amount of time early on in the season, but now that he is back in the roster, you definitely see what he is capable of doing and the big impact that he does make on this team. Draymond Green stands at 6'6", 230 pounds, as we all know, and over the last 5 games and during this win streak, he has been absolutely very beneficial, not only just in scoring, but rebounds and also assists. Now, if you see it from these highlights here, you see what he's capable of doing when it comes to freeing up everyone, whether it's Curry, Kuminga, Wiggins, or even Klay Thompson, and his ability to be able to attract defense now that he is more aggressive when it comes to scoring really does help free up more space for other players, especially someone like Curry, who Draymond loves to find, especially on the three-point line. So because of this, I think Draymond Green at center has definitely been very, very beneficial. Even at 6'6", they are technically still running that small ball, but they haven't really struggled against bigger teams. Like we mentioned earlier, they did play Phoenix Suns, where they put on an absolute spectacular performance, and Draymond Green himself even had himself the winning steal and also bodied Nurkic from time to time. But when it comes to what Draymond does out there, it's definitely the intangibles that really don't get noticed. Yes, in the most recent game against Jazz, he had 12 points, 8 rebounds, and also 9 assists. However, when we actually look further in and you see the impact that he makes, whether it's making that extra pass, whether it's setting that great screen, even if it's not a part of the play, it's those little things and his leadership that he really does bring to this team that is going to be a huge asset when it comes playoff time and also crunch time in close games. But I think Draymond Green coming back has definitely been very, very beneficial for the Warriors, and it is going to continue to be a huge asset as they start to head into the top 8, as they are getting closer and closer as this win streak continues.